Hey guys, Pastor JJ here. I just wanted to real quick talk to you guys about communion. Okay, so it's Monday morning, and yesterday was church, and we did communion in church, and it was really cool. It was only my second time doing communion in this particular church, but there was a new family there. And if you're not familiar, one of the things we do when people come up for communion is I hand them the elements, right? And I say this is the body broken and the blood poured out. Right, and that's kind of a traditional words. We're talking about what happened to Jesus because communion is all about, remembering what Jesus did in the presence of God in our lives. And so I did that, and there was this new family, and there was a young kid. I want to put him at like late elementary school. I'm not sure how old he was, but he was old enough. And he comes up, and I hand him the thing, and I say, "Body broken, blood poured out." And he squints at me, and he goes, "What?" And in my head, I realized, like, okay, first, probably he didn't hear me. But then second, he probably didn't understand. Like, what does that mean? And so in my head, I was translating, and I was like, I need to translate. Now, if you guys are familiar with communion in church, you see each person for like 1 second, right? Like, they walk up, you hand them the elements, and then that's it. Like that, I mean, and then they're done. And then they moved on, and the next person comes up, because you got a lot of people to go through. And so it's a very quick moment. And so in my head, I was like, how do I translate this so he could understand it? And I just looked at him, because I've done this before. And I looked at him and I said, "Oh, Jesus loves you." Right? That's what that means. And I just wanted to talk about that for a second, because I was thinking about that's the same thing I say to kids, right? Because maybe they don't understand the body broken and the blood poured out, but they understand Jesus loves you. Right? And that's what communion is all about, right? There's this moment on the cross, right? Well, before that, right? The night before, when he was at that table with his disciples, and he had the bread and he had the wine, and he said, "This is my body." But and he broke the bread. And so he's talking about his body being broken. He's talking about his sacrifice on the cross. And what that means is that Jesus loves you so much that he's willing to give up his life for you. And that's that moment where Jesus is saying, with his actions, he is saying, you are worth dying for. No matter what mistakes you have made, there is forgiveness available, and Jesus died for you. And that means Jesus loves you. You are loved by Jesus. And we, in our lives in this world, it's so messed up, it's so messy, and it's just so easy to forget that. Right? The world challenges our identity. The world challenges our worth. They're always telling us you don't measure up, you have to fit into this mold, or you have to find your identity, you have to wrap yourself up in all these external things. But the reality is, at the core of who you are created by God and you are loved by God. And he proved that when he came down and then died for you, so that you could be forgiven and live in God's grace. And I just think it's such a beautiful message. And I wanted to like translate it, because sometimes church people get into their weird traditions and we don't always explain what we're doing and why. But communion is that moment where we say, hey, remember, Jesus loves you. So anyways, I hope you guys have a great day and a great week. We'll talk to you later. Bye.